Okay, in this video we're going to look at solving quadratic equations by completing the square. So if I start off with the quadratic equation x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0, first thing I'm going to do is complete the square. Now I'm going to do this quite quickly now because by this stage hopefully you've seen my other videos and you're well aware of the process. So I'm going to start by halving the coefficient of x, which is x minus 1 all squared, subtract the square of this one and subtract the 24. 0, which leaves me with x minus 1 all squared minus 25 equals 0. So I'm going to start by getting the x term on its own as much as we can. So I'm going to get rid of the minus 25 by adding 25, leaves me with x minus 1 all squared equals 25. Now if I want to get at the x and get it on its own, the next thing to deal with is this squared. So to cancel out squaring, I square root. So that's x minus 1 is equal to the square root of 25, which is plus or minus 5. Now the plus or minus is important, make sure you use both of them. Now to find x on its own I need to add 1 to both sides, so I could write plus or minus 5 plus 1, but I'd rather write 1 plus or minus 5. And this leaves us with two solutions, either x equals 1 plus 5, which is 6, or x is going to be 1 minus 5, which is minus 4. This means that your curve now will cross the x-axis at minus 4 and 6. Okay, if I try another example, so x squared plus 4x minus 7 equals 0. So I start with completing the square, is x half the coefficient plus 2 all squared, subtract the 4 and subtract the 7. Leaves me with x plus 2 all squared minus 11 equals 0. So if I follow the same process, I start by adding 11 to both sides, which will leave me with x plus 2 all squared equals 11. Then I square root. Now this is slightly different to the previous question, because 11 isn't a square number, so it's difficult, certainly without a calculator, to know what this value is. So we're going to leave it in surd form, plus or minus root 11. Then I'm going to subtract the 2 to get my x on its own. So I'm going to write minus 2 plus or minus root 11. So my two solutions are x equals minus 2 plus root 11, or x equals minus 2 minus root 11. And one final example, if I tried 2x squared plus 8x plus 2 equals 0. Now we could start by realizing that the x squared coefficient is 2, which means that we need to take it out as a factor. However, in this case everything is divisible by 2. So if I start by dividing the entire equation by 2, I have x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. And then if I start factorizing, completing the square, I get x plus 2 all squared, subtract the 2 squared, so subtract 4 plus the 1 is 0, leaves me with x plus 2 all squared minus 3 is 0, and then I continue solving as I have in the previous questions. So I start by adding 3, so x plus 2 all squared equals 3. I'm going to square root, so I get, again, I don't know what the square root of 3 is, so it's plus or minus root 3, and then I'll subtract the 2, so I get minus 2 plus or minus root 3. So my two solutions are x equals minus 2 plus root 3, or x equals minus 2 minus root 3. And that's finished.